Joining us now, Democratic Senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen. Senator, really good to have you. Do you want to react to your colleague?
Katie, it's good to be with you. Lindsey Graham knows better than that, or he should know better than that. What we're talking about here is a gross corruption of the judicial process. The president effectively ordering his Department of Justice to bring charges against Comey over the objections of people in the Department of Justice initially, including the Eastern District of Virginia attorney, who was, by the way, a Trump supporter, who said that there were inadequate grounds for bringing these charges, as did many others. And so what we see here is a political prosecution, political persecution. We are in very, very dangerous territory here. And this, of course, comes on the heels of the president's effort to use government power to crack down on free speech.
Do you have faith in the Justice Department? And if you do, where do you place it?
Oh, I do not have faith in this Justice Department. You've got an Attorney General Bondi, who is a rubber stamp for the president rather than exercising independent legal judgment. She is just an instrument of the President of the United States. And unlike in other administrations, the President of the United States is directing the Justice Department through his social media directly. So this is a gross violation of all the norms, and it really is what you would expect in authoritarian regimes. Where
do you have faith in the courts, then?
What's that?
Do you have faith in the courts?
I do have faith in the court system. I think the Supreme Court has undermined its credibility in many areas recently. But I do have faith in our judicial system overall. Yes. And this is why I agree with James Comey when he says, you know, he has nothing to fear, because I think at the end of the day, people will see this for what it is, a purely malicious political prosecution.
Let's talk about government shutdown. Do you see any reason to work with your Republican colleagues right now to keep the government open?
We've been trying to. In fact, in the Senate Republicans had told us that they were willing to establish safeguards and protections to prevent the president from illegally withholding funds after we appropriate them. Unfortunately, when push comes to shove, Republicans in the House and the Senate have become complete rubber stamps for Donald Trump. He's the only Republican who counts. They have essentially given him their vote and their proxy. And right now, he refuses to talk. I mean, the House Republicans are out of town, right? They're AWOL right now. Donald Trump says he won't talk. And I, for one, Katie, am not willing to give a blank check to this lawless president.
So you're going to vote no unless they come to the table?
They need to come to the table. Otherwise, as I said, I will not vote to support a blank check to a lawless president who is, as we speak, illegally withholding funds.
So I want to ask about that. Let me ask about that first. Even if you were to work with this Republican Congress, what makes you sure that any of the funds that you would get back or negotiate with them would be doled out, would be funded? The president has already tried to impound funds. He's done so. They've rescinded other things. So what is the point of working with them when there's no guarantee that any of the negotiations will stand a month, 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line?
Well, currently, it would be a blank check, and a blank check is not worth the paper it's written on. We have proposed to Republicans specific language that would mean we don't go through this, quote, rescission process where they went back on funding commitments they previously made. You can change the law to take that option off the table. You can do things as we've done in our counter proposal that would essentially erase these illegal pocket rescissions that the president put forward. So we have put forward, Katie, an alternative that does create these guardrails. We also have in our alternative a way to turn off this time bomb that's about to go off on Americans' health care when premiums go through the roof at the end of the year.
What about the threat that the White House is using, the Office of Management and Budget, to just not put people on furlough in the government, but to fire them altogether. This is what Chuck Schumer warned about last time that he ended up signing on to a CR. Got a lot of anger and blowback for that. But ultimately, he said that he was worried that the government would not be reopened if they allowed it and the Democrats allowed it to get shut down. Do you still worry about that? Is there any concern about the people who might lose their jobs?
Well, Katie, what I would say is right now, the president has the authority to do that, at least in his mind. In other words, there's nothing in a government shutdown situation that gives the president more power to RIF people, to do reductions in force. They've been doing that throughout the last 8 months, and we've had the government open. So this is really mafia-style threats and blackmail, because there's nothing under a shutdown that empowers the president more to do that. In fact, I would argue there are provisions under a shutdown that would limit their ability to do that. But this does go to show the complete, thuggery of this president and his administration. Federal employees have nothing to do with the political and policy disputes we're facing, but they're threatening to take it out on them.
Do you worry about handing the president a potential reason to go after Democrats when his poll numbers are not good, the economic poll numbers are not good, his numbers on immigration are not good? He's not doing well according to the public perception of him. Do you want to get in the way of that?
Well, I don't think we're going to be getting in the way of that. As you know, one of the major provisions in our alternative is, in fact, to help the American people who are about to see huge increases in their health insurance premiums. I mean, we have a ticking time bomb that Republicans left in place as part of their so-called big, beautiful bill, which was beautiful if you're a billionaire. It stunk if you're anybody else, but they left in place this ticking time bomb. And so I think the American people are going to ask themselves, why is the president wanting to shut down the government rather than work to prevent these huge increases in health care costs?
Senator Chris Van Hollen of the Appropriations and Budget Committee, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry I stole a minute of your time. I appreciate you joining us.